We're blessed when we come and when we go.
What's up, live? What's up, YouTube?
Hey, TikTok,
Talk Tick.
YouTube. You know, I don't think you can say like their names on different platforms. Like, I don't know how they do.
Daddy.
What's wrong, Journey? What you need, honey?
Is it my unicorn? Is it my coiny? Is it my coiny?
Yeah.
Your pony?
That's the name, Pony.
That's not pony. That's a unicorn.
Oh, a unicorn?
All right,
Yeah.
then.
So what you calling it?
It's a pony.
No, it's a unicorn.
So is it a pony or is it a unicorn? Oh, I forgot because it has that thing on it.
Yeah.
I forgot.
Okay.
You guys wanna watch TV while we do our thing? You need your tablet? Burger. Earth to
Jern,
bug.
get out the light. Go. Get out the light. Go. He's like staring into the light.
You need your tablet?
Okay.
Hey, hi,
All right.
hi.
So, babe, you want to get started? Is this mine?
Yeah, I'm putting the sugar
I
in.
need more.
Yeah. Go ahead, you can start.
No, you start this time. You start, cause no, you want me to start?
Yeah, I guess I'll start. So I guess we've been following a different format. Of course, we're here to promote healthy marriages. We're here to give our guidance, just some things that we go through, some topics that we might have, some knowledge and things that helped us along the way in our marriage. So we're just here to offer some assistance where we can. We feel like there aren't many healthy conversations about healthy, strong marriages. So a lot of the reason why we are where God has positioned us here every Monday to speak from a faith and a spiritual and a godly perspective on how things and how we view things and how we should go about things and how we should be dating and how we should be courting and how we should just be handling ourselves and prepping ourselves for the next stages of our lives. So just a background on why you're here, why we're here. That's how we started the conversation. We switched it up a little bit. We got some new background, same chairs. You know, we don't want to throw y'all off. So I'll say the first topic I think is a big topic nowadays. We're speaking just from our culture. Obviously, we are indigenous, African American, Black.
Journey.
Whatever you want to call it.
The dog how did you go swimming?
1 second.
Okay.
In the pool.
Okay, that's okay.
We're talking.
We'll do it in a second, okay?
Stay in the room while we're talking until we're done, okay? Okay. And so we feel like the landscape for our people are changing. In my opinion, it's changing. I look at our family. I look at the trajectory of where we're at, the legacy of our family, and where we're opening up different businesses and things of that nature. What does that look like? What does that look like here in the United States? What does that look like internationally? So I guess my lead question is how, this is speaking to the families and the marriages, people that are married. How would you feel about, and I guess leaning more into our culture, this is not like, not trying to leave any race out or anything like that, but this is more kind of speaking directly to our people. How do you feel about uprooting to another country? Have you thought about uprooting to another country? What are some of those countries? How do you feel about the landscape of America for your children, for your wife, for your business, for your career? So I guess that's my lead
That's a
question.
good question. I feel like for us, it's definitely a yes. We've thought about moving to other countries.
Yes.
I think I was just talking to somebody about that recently about like a different country and where would I go. Because I said I love Tennessee.
Right.
And I was like, I feel like if I move from Tennessee, it's either going to be like out of the country or it's going to be, it'll either be Georgia or out of the country. Because I feel like God still has something for me there, kind of, you know that season that we went through.
Yeah.
We kind of was, that was on the trajectory of the move and all that.
So is it Georgia or specifically Atlanta?
I don't really know. I don't know if, because I don't think, was the place in Georgia where we was going?
I think it was Marietta.
I
think it was Marietta, Georgia.
Yeah,
right?
So I don't think it was in Atlanta, I don't believe.
No, not the, now you talking about where you hosted when we had the thing?
No,
speaking
when we were gonna move there.
Oh, with
in that place that we was gonna rent
in her
from
apartment?
that girl, yeah.
I believe she lived in Atlanta.
She lived in Atlanta. Right?
Yeah, she lived like.
Was they rental property in Atlanta too?
She had a rental. Yeah, she had an apartment that she lived in. She had another apartment. I guess I don't know if it was connected to her apartment that she was renting.
No, I think it was just like separate.
Or
I don't know.
Apartment that
I don't
she
really
had,
remember.
a property that she had, or a family had, or something of that nature. But,
yeah, but we were gonna move there at some point. We ended up not moving to Georgia. We ended up staying in Tennessee. But that's a whole nother story. Like, ooh.
Mm-hmm.
But I definitely feel like I would live outside of the country. I feel like outside of the U.S. I feel like I haven't really done as much research as you have on like where that will be. I know Africa for sure. It's just always a place that it's been like a place that I just want to visit. I have to visit
several different countries in Africa. We definitely
right, but I think like Africa is one of the you know more all about that. I feel like I haven't really done the research,
right.
But I know the lifestyle.
Right.
So I think that's what kind of for me where my vision is not exactly like where.
Right.
It's just the vision of how it looks.
So what are like the top 3 things when you think of living in another country, like that you think about when you leave it, when you're like thinking about going to another country? What are like the top 3 things you are concerned or that you?
Well, my main concern I feel like would definitely be like the wherever we go to, the agriculture has to be like better.
The agriculture?
Yeah, than here.
Like
as far as for like
or
food.
The process of growing the food.
The process of growing food,
right,
because I want to make sure that is something that we implement.
Right.
Wherever we go is like the growing of food. I think that's gonna be the first thing. Is like the landscaping, all of that, the whole 10. I think that's gonna be because you want land for sure. I know that. So whatever that looks like.
Right. Okay.
I think that's gonna be like the top priority. Because that's something that we really are, we really want to implement. So I think that's going to be like the top thing. I think also, I don't really know about like the area, but I feel like it has to be a space that we can be able to, that's up and coming, that's rising, that we could be able to play a part in the growth of the area.
Okay.
I think that's something that's also important.
Okay.
And then just making sure that it's really like a great place to raise like a family.
Right. Safe.
Yeah, that it's a safe place.
Okay.
I think so. I mean, I'm not saying that safety isn't like a top.
Right. It's top 3
priority, but it's like as in like number 1. But I think like all of those as a collective, like.
Okay.
Safe eating, because I think that's really important too. But those are the things that I think will be my top reasons, or things to look for, things that are important to me. But that tree is budding.
Oh, it is. Wow. It is
budding.
Do you think we gotta take them other ones off? These dead ones?
No, I don't know. Just leave it. They look so good. They look so cool. Okay, sorry y'all. We've been regrowing,
I think
helping
they
our
might
plants
have to come off.
regrowing. Um,
I think they might
because
have
they
to.
started to die. It was like terrible. But yeah,
I'm
so that
sorry.
was sorry about that. But
You threw me
yeah,
off again.
I'm sorry. But yeah, so I think that definitely those would be my top three. Is just making sure that it's safe, the agriculture for us to be able to grow things on our own land, and then being able to be a part of the growth in the area. I think that's something that will be impactful. So
That's good. That's good.
those would be my top three things. But I definitely feel like you have done more research.
Right.
So I don't really know.
Go back in the room. Go back in the room. Go back in the room.
I don't
Go back
really
in the
know.
room. Go back in the room. Okay, wait. Wait till I get done. Wait till I get done.
She gonna keep on coming here. But yeah, so
Okay. Yeah.
you've done more research, so I don't really know exactly like where. I mean, I have thoughts,
Right.
and you know, I listen to things too.
Right.
So you know what I'm saying. I have thoughts. But for sure, I don't know.
Okay. Do you feel like a majority of us, like, do you feel like us as a people would do better in different circumstances, or do you feel
Yes.
like America
No.
can work? We can work out. We can work this thing out over here.
I feel like it's so layered, but I feel like in another country, Africa being specific, not knowing exactly where, but
Right.
I believe that it puts us in a place and in a state of just natural state. Like you have lots of greenery, you have lots of, you know what I'm saying,
Right.
depending on where you go and depending
Right,
on where you
right.
visit.
Right.
But I feel like it can be like a space of like, how do you call it, like back to the basics,
Right.
back to the beginning, like figuring out the things that's really important,
Right.
like really just being able to see God. Like I feel like the distractions of like everyday life in America is
Starting to
would be
become-
would yeah would be like a break away from that,
Right. Right.
being able to transition there.
Right.
I feel like if we can really come together as a people,
Right.
I believe that America could work. But at the same time, I feel like when you have a people who are so determined to erase you,
Mm-hmm.
it is. Are you really ever gonna be great
Right.
to the fullest potential? I feel like in Africa, like one thing about me is I don't like things that I don't like a ceiling. I don't like a cap.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like in America, it's always going to be a cap. It's always going to be a ceiling there. Even though that ceiling can be very high.
High ceilings, right?
Yeah, but for certain, people, I feel like there's always going to try to be a cap. There's always going to try to be some type of cap there. Like they'll let you be great, but they won't let you be too great.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Or it's like where I feel like in Africa, it could be.
It's limitless.
It's limit. Like there's no ceiling. Like there's no limit.
And the average age is very young.
Yes,
So
yes.
it's just a thriving continent. Let alone the countries that are individually doing their own great things. But yeah, I feel like I've been doing extensive research. As a family, I feel like that is a big part of our journey. And so yeah. Any thoughts?
Somebody said come to Canada. America has a bad history. Come to
I've
Canada.
never thought about Canada, honestly.
But you know what? Somebody did just say that. Somebody said I found Waldo. Talking about
Talking about Shay? That's clever. That was good.
That was good.
That was good.
But no, it does have a bad history, and I feel like a lot of times, like it holds that bad rep, like, you know. But I feel like also too, at the end of the day, I was talking to somebody, and while I was driving, and we talked about like America, like how there are really nice places in America too, to not just, you know, limit,
Cancel.
yeah, like totally cancel America, because there are beautiful places in America too,
Sure.
you know, and being able to be like open-minded to also explore all those different places and all those different the different sceneries and all those different things as well, because there may be a place, it may just be certain parts, you know, you never really, I don't really know. But what do you feel about that? Do you think it's all of America, or do you feel like it's certain spaces and places? And
I just look at it from a global perspective, more than a national perspective. Even though, like you said, nationally, there's probably great places to go and see and to live and have different experiences from our culture perspective. However, globally, I feel like the things that America has gotten into and is getting into historically puts a target on everyone's back.
Yeah.
And just because you live in a little place in Montana or a big place in Chicago or a farmhouse in Tennessee, once they decide, or once we decide to enter into whatever we're gonna enter into, or whoever decides that enough is enough, and whatever that looks like, everybody is involved at that point. And the places that I research and the places that I look at and the places that I'm interested in are places that I never hear about conflict as far as globally. They might have internal conflict or conflict between countries, but from a global perspective, that's like Tennessee having an issue with Texas. And so, but everybody doesn't feel the effects of that as far as in that nation.
Yeah.
Or on that continent.
Yeah.
When those, you know, or, you know, something of that nature. So, or Mexico and the United States had an issue, it wouldn't impact the world as much as if two continents or you know, so it's a different perspective of that. So it's,
Journey, go back.
give me a second, I'm talking. When I get done talking, we can talk. Give me a second. Go back in the room.
Let me tell you something.
Wait till I get done talking.
Daddy.
Wait till I get done talking.
Journey, go.
And so I view just that part of it as far as the safety part is like, again, those are one of my big concerns when I'm thinking about living in different places and living in different countries. What's the safety of the country? How many wars have they been in? What's the landscape of their local government? Are they at war? Is it civil wars going on? So a lot of those things I play a huge role in where to move your family to, or where to start a new beginning at.
Yeah.
And so from that perspective, I don't hear a lot of countries in Africa getting in the middle of no problems.
Yeah.
They stay neutral.
Yeah.
I don't really hear about it. You hear all the time Russia and China, and you hear all these different countries constantly into it.
Yeah.
You think about even the Middle East and all these different countries that's getting into it. You rarely ever hear about global conflict with Africa.
Yeah. No, that's true. That's a good.
Well, I've never heard it, but if you have, it's been very rare.
Yeah.
So, that's how I feel about it.
That's good. I think it's important to. We was listening to Khalees, like how she did it. She kind of went down for,
Travel.
and yeah, traveled a few places, and then decided like, okay, I'm gonna go, and then she stayed, and then now a 3 month thing turned into a 6 month thing, and then now it's just like I'm moving my whole family out
This is
here.
home.
Yeah, and now it's home. So I think a lot of times it's like being able to travel, experience. I think that also opens up the space of like where what's best for my family.
Right.
Because it's not, I don't think it's the same for everybody. You know what I'm saying? So
But I do feel like if you're looking, and some people just don't want more. That's just the
yeah,
reality of it. Some people are very fine and cool with
content with where they
content
are.
with
Yeah.
what they've done and where they're at, which is completely fine. But I feel like for people that think like us and think uh, about the life that our children's children will be living,
Yeah.
and how that and what that looks like in America is just scary to me. To be honest, it's just a scary thought.
Mm.
It hasn't been. Yeah, I wouldn't want to get too far into that, but I just want to keep it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
That's good.
yeah, that's my leading topic. What you got?
Yeah. So I feel like God has been on me about like faith and timing.
Okay.
Um so I just want to kind of see where you feel like and then I listened to the speaker tonight that he said something that really just like um made me feel like that's kind of the space that we need to be in, is a space of pace.
That's good.
And so God has been talking to me about timing. And how do you feel about rushing God's time, or feel like your things are supposed to be, because as the season that we're coming out of, and the changes that is happening, how it feels like, I talk to you a lot of time about feeling like I feel like I'm supposed to be further than this, or it's supposed to be already this and that, and so it's like, and God has spoke to me about like where I'm missing it is in His timing. And so basically my question to you is like, how do you feel about God's timing, waiting on God's um well because so what the guy said is like, you're not really, it's not really, we focus too much on the waiting versus enduring
Mm.
through the wait, like throughout the timing of God. And so I just wanna see what your thoughts are on like feeling like, do you feel like you're far behind, or do you feel like you're right where you're supposed to be? And then just really how to like remain content waiting for God's plans to come to fruition.
Okay. Good question. So to answer the first question.
You gotta speak up.
Oh, to answer the first question, how do I feel about God's timing? How important is God's timing? Is that
Yeah,
the question?
I mean, yeah, that's
Okay.
however you take that.
Right. I feel like it's chaotic to go off of your own timing.
Yeah.
And I'm a historian by nature, and reading the Bible even, and seeing the different men and women that chose to do their own thing versus the men and the women that relied on God's timing and signs and angels and things like that, and whatever the pillar of a cloud, whatever God showed up in, that they were patient for that, the results happened the way they needed to happen.
Yeah.
And so when you go off your own time, like I said, like it could be very chaotic. And so to answer that question, God's timing is perfect timing. And just to bring it into a better context and to maybe reference it to something that's more modern, I heard Bud Crawford, they just had a press conference with Canelo Alvarez. They're going to fight in September, right? And Bud said, they asked him a question. He said, how do you feel about getting this fight now? And what do you like? Because he's been a 2-division undisputed champion, so he's been at the top of boxing for a while, right? But he never really got like the big fights, or he's not really the face of boxing like he should be. And they asked him, like, why do you feel like it's now that you're getting this? And he answered it perfectly by saying it's God's timing. Everything that he did up to this point was preparing him for now.
That's good.
So everything that all of the hate and everything that he went through and all of the fights and all of the things that he's endured from the boxing. Because if he would have got it sooner, who's to know if he would have seized the moment, one, and two, was he even prepared for the moment? And so now when you see him and you see his confidence and you see just him versus just the man you see a couple years ago when he was in fighting Errol Spence, you just see the elevation and just him as a man, just how he is as just leading other boxers, how he is as a father, as he is as a promoter, as he is as a businessman. So you can just see the elevation, and you can see, okay, it just feels like a perfect time for him. Like it just feels like his time.
Still like a little nasty.
I don't know. You know, fruit bugs coming around. I'll be eating that fruit around all day. They don't eat. And so, so I just feel like, just to keep it relevant, it's always best to wait and to know that this is the right time. The only way you know that it's the right time is you know that God is in control of that time.
Yeah, that's good.
So, and what was the other part of the question?
I don't remember.
It was.
I think because I was talking about faith too, but it was.
But yeah.
How important is God's timing, and then how do you stay content through the wait?
How do I stay content through the wait? By focusing, by being grateful.
That's good.
Being grateful. And focusing on abundance.
That's good.
Because it's easy to focus on lack. We just had that.
Yes.
I just had a moment the other day. You know, when you have these big kids and they constantly, you want to keep them focused and they have their own way of thinking that they need to, on how to do it. So it's just, and you want to be in a position to where you're able to do more or to guide them in a better direction. Not even necessarily with.
Go. Now.
Get your tablet. Get your tablet. Get your tablet. Let me get your tablet. What you want? What's up? What's up? What's up?
Mommy got a lot of coins. I don't got 8 and 7.
Okay, go get some of your dollars out your drawer.
No.
Never mind.
No. Don't play with the money.
I'll get you.
Okay, y'all put the coin. If y'all gonna argue about the coins, just put them up. That's how we gonna end that.
I just tell on you.
Yeah. So just being content. Yeah, just being content.
Yeah.
And focusing on. By being grateful. That's how you stay content through that. By being grateful.
Definitely.
And focusing on the abundance. Focusing on what you know God has already told you. Not what it look like, but what it's going to be.
Exactly, because your eyes can definitely, if you focus on what you see,
right,
that's your own understanding.
Exactly.
And that's where God tells don't move off your own understanding. Something that I don't know if I'm saying this, but Nuka, I don't know if I'm saying it the right way.
Can't say her name. Try it.
He said, I know the plans I have for you. And so that scripture, that's actually a scripture that I just literally wrote out today. in my that's Jeremiah 29:11. And Jeremiah 29:11, and God tells us that He knows the plans that He has for us. And I wrote that out because like that is one of the things that I use in my real estate business as a realtor. I use that because I truly and I firmly believe that God already has a plan. So the perfect home is going to present itself. Sometimes people get so anxious, they get so frustrated. It's a process that you have to like have grace for. And I feel like a lot of people, I help people kind of just keep that faith throughout the process. And literally Jeremiah 29:11 is one of the scriptures that I wrote down today, and I put in my bio. So I'm creating a new bio for my website, and that was one of the scriptures that I use. But I believe that I've always had a lot of faith. I used to get to the point to where I would like God to tell me something and I would just move so fast. So I've had to go through a season of learning how to slow down and be able to. So like it all made sense tonight when he said you have to have pace, because I believe that the way that God moves, He flows. He moves like
water.
Like water. He flows like water. It's smooth. It's quiet. Or it could be loud, and it could be very scary. You know what I'm saying? At the same time. So it's just like sometimes you see some water is still, some water is slowly moving, some is at a fast pace. So it's just like there's rushing waters. There's, you know what I'm saying? So there's so many different aspects to that. But I truly believe that we serve a God that flows. And the way that I've been learning to trust God's timing is really to just flow with God. And God has given me a flow that I truly believe is unmatched. And it's been hard for me recently, I feel like, to get back to that, coming from having a baby, getting married, all the things that we've had going on over the past few years, the business change, just so many different transitions, you know, and so many different just
obstacles.
Yeah, so many different things. It's just been so much. And so it's like I feel like that flow has that I have to get back into that flow by being patient and focusing on everything that God has already given to me. Because I feel like a lot of, like what you were saying, is a lot of times we focus on the lack and what it is that we don't have, that we disregard the things that God has given to us, that we become ungrateful in the focus on lack. One thing I was listening to was Myron Golden, when he said that Adam and Eve had to go all the way into the midst of the garden to focus on the tree that God told them not to eat of. And they passed all the abundance that God had freely given them to go and focus on what they couldn't have, or the lack thereof, you know. And so it's just like when you think of that, that's extremely powerful to pay attention, to pay attention to. It's like you disregard everything else, all the good things, all the, the great things that God has done and everything that He's brought you from, to focus on what you don't have. So it's just, and it could be very defeating, and it can get you to a point to where you no longer want to endure.
No, I gotta go boo boo. I don't need no help.
Don't get up without asking somebody to come wipe you, G. Bro, you heard me? All right, don't get up off that pot by yourself.
To really endure. So what the guy, Dr. J, I believe his name was, what he was saying is that you have to have pace. Being able to pace yourself allows you to be in total alignment with God. That's good. And so when I think about the experience that I had at church the church that we went to go visit that past Sunday, Me in Heaven. I can't think of the name of it, but the church that we went to go and visit, there was a guest speaker, and she called me up there, and she talked to me about walking with God. And in the demonstration, she said, "Walk with me." And so we started walking. She's like, slow down, slow down. So she slowed me down first. So I had to like be in step. She's like, walk with me. Right. So I had to be in tune with her. And then as she sped up, I had to speed up. Right. And so it was just like we were walking. She's like, you're walking with God. And she was just prophesying and speaking. And it was just like so much confirmation because it was everything that God had told me. Right. And it's just like, if you're practicing gratitude, if you're here in this grateful space and you're being intentional about being grateful, it just makes room and space for God to be able to add to, so, but yeah, trusting God's timing and being able to be content in it is definitely gratitude. It's definitely keeping your eye on God and not giving in to what you see. Trusting what you feel in the spirit versus what's happening in the natural. Because the trick of the enemy is to trick you out of what you feel. So he wants to take what you feel, that good feeling, that abundance, that life, that peace, and he wants to turn it into the chaos and of your own timing, and it's supposed to be now, and it's supposed to be this, and it's supposed to be that. And it's just like the becoming of who you're supposed to be is so beautifully birthed when it's in God's time. Good. It's not about being in the spotlight. It's not about, it's really about meeting purpose. It's really about meeting destiny. It's about enjoying the journey and paying attention that your life really is a journey. Right. And it's all about those things. And once you become all that God, because you're never going to like be at the end of becoming, because God says go from glory to glory. Mm-hmm. So even when you feel like you mastered a level, there's another level to reach, to strive for, so yeah. But the becoming is so beautiful, but in God's timing. So that's one thing that I'm really learning. So that's good. And God been on me about that. But yeah, so
Bug, how you doing? You done?
You good?
You need help? All right, here we come. All right, live. We gotta go white butt.
Bless me.
All right, stay there. Here we come.
Have cancer. Well, we're praying for you.
Oh, for sure.
Yes, it's talking about big facts. Safety is a big thing. Yes, no, that's real. Now, we thank y'all so much for commenting. We thank y'all so much for watching.
I gotta go white butt.
Okay.
Love y'all.
All right.
Go ahead,
all right, y'all. Well, peace out. We'll be back on Monday. All right, y'all. Babe, what was that? Oh. Thank you for watching. Hey.
Bye-bye.